Retail sales training. Okay, nobody likes the word training, but if you have a retail store, you need to understand that's money in the bank if you just use it. That's what we're talking about today. You know, I think one of the biggest things we have to understand is training isn't something we did, we got through it. Training is something we do. We just train, just like any musician, any filmmaker, actor, sports hero, you name it. It's just something we do. It's the way of life. And so if we understand that, then we understand, oh, well, we haven't been doing that for a while, and there's a lot we could learn. And that's what I want you to be thinking about today is it's got to go beyond product knowledge, right? Like, you know, this shirt has a Dobby knit, and Dobby knits are made in the south of Dobbyville. I don't know. Or, you know, we get caught up in these particulars training when they land really poorly to the learner because there's no context. Why would anyone care? How do we get them to say, that shirt looks great on you, and by the way, this shirt does look great on me, thank you very much. But that's the point. How do I feel wearing it? Yes, those little facets that you could talk about the product details might put me over the edge, right? Like in this case, I can remove the collar stay so that when I get it cleaned, I won't have the nasty little ends that all get frayed or something like that. Oh, okay. And it'll stand up really well against the jacket. Okay, that all makes sense. Awesome. But you're not leading with that, right? Like, hi, try this on. You know, it's got a removable collar stay so you can wash it and put the collar stays in and it looks fresh under a jacket. Yeah, I'm just looking for a shirt, dude. Like, that's a nice blue. Right? So the joy of selling. I think it's one of the things that I enjoy the most. I've sold some pretty expensive items in my time. I've also sold coffee all the way down to $4 a cup. At the end, the thrill of getting someone to say yes is what I love. Oddly, not everyone in the world likes that. Because what have we heard in most videos, right? Or films? Anyone that's trying to sell you is evil. Mr. Burns always has the upper hand. You'll get disappointed greatly to the point you might swear, and that it's always about a winner and a loser. Well, if you want to look at retail sales training, you got to jettison all of that garbage you're bringing to it, because my guess is the reason you haven't been training people in a store is that's on your back. And so it feels like a fraud to be telling them to help sell. And look, all selling is the transference of feeling, because I feel good about something, I can transfer that to you. For example, my shirt. I would have no trouble selling the shirt. This shirt feels great. It's one of the few in the world for a man that is not that extreme taper. So I can be comfortable sitting like this today and not be self-conscious. Well, that's a big point to me. So if you see another guy like that, I'm in. If I see a woman looking for a shirt for her father or for her husband, I easily can make that point. If it's a guy looking for his husband, I can go through and still make that same point because I have used it. Here's the problem though. Most of you sell, I don't know, 10,000, 100,000 different SKUs. It's very unlikely everyone has used everything. So they have to be able to pull into the soft skills of how do I engage a stranger. All that to say is you don't have to have a long video to train. You could just say, today I want to make sure that everybody says good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And you think, well, that's just awfully simple, Bob. That is the first part of the sales process that I have taught for 30 years. It is consistently one of the hardest ones to get people to do. Because one thing is, we've got muscle memory. They may have said that for days, years, decades, received the same reply, no. You know, can I help you? No. And yet they still ask it. Like they became deaf to the own customers saying, no, don't ever say that. So now you're going to say something different. And when they get into it, their body just relaxes and says the same thing. You probably know that same feeling when you suddenly pull into your house and you think, how did I get home? How did I get here? Because the oldest part of your brain, we call it the dinosaur brain, kicks in and says, hey, I got it. Cognitive abilities, don't need it. Let's just go further on that while I'm at it. That's called the limbic system, dinosaur brain down here. In the middle is where we make critical decisions. Do I like this person? Is this a good value? That's where, like, I think of like a critical ant. That's the analytics of it, right? And that's where most of us try to sell. That's a hard place to play because we don't always know what the markers are that will get them to say yes. Sometimes we fall into it. I'll tell you about that maybe if I remember in a minute. But the top is where we sell from, which is wonder. It's the reason why when it's holiday season, I say, when you sell something to somebody at the holidays and you say, who else is on your list? You'll see them physically look up to their left, access this part of their brain of wonder, and then might come back and say, oh, I'm sure you don't have anything. You're like, try me. Well, it's from my grandma. Oh, great. What have you gotten her in the past? because you've already had this conversation, right? It's easy. But if we don't have that, we don't get them to wonder, we're stuck in critical. And critical is a punishing place. Is it going to be on sale tomorrow? Should I check Amazon or some other online retailer? What are my other options? And it's hard to justify all those. So being understanding that the brain, their goal is to get them to wonder. And when they start thinking, oh yeah, how would that look in my house? Or, oh, what else could I do with that? Or what else do they have here? That's where it becomes fun shopping. And anyone can make that happen if you just train them. So we've talked about the greeting, finding something in common with somebody through something they're saying, something they're holding, something they're wearing are always great. All right, so this has nothing to do with retail, but I want you to show you what it's like when you actually look for, find that point of contact and where it can lead you. All right, so I am flying from Albany to Chicago a few years back, and this person sits down to me with a binder this big, green, 3-leaf binder, and I just turn to him and I go, wow, that really looks like some light reading for the trip. And he goes, yeah, I've got to get through all of this. I'm going from Chicago back home to Ohio. I said, oh, I grew up in Ohio, actually. And Toledo. He goes, no. And I said, well, I didn't really grow up in Toledo. I grew up in Ottawa Hills. He goes, no way. I'm like, wait, dude, why? And they close the cabin door, and the engines are starting. And he goes, well, I used to visit this family in Ottawa Hills. And I said, oh, really? Because my dad was in social justice work, and I remember we had people over all the time. And he goes, I've been to your house. Your dad and my dad were best friends. You were probably too young to remember me. I would have been 4 years older than you. So I've been like 11. Turns out he had eaten dinner several times at our house, and we had a nice conversation the rest of the way. Now, why do I tell that story? Because of Ohio? No, because look at all the coincidences. If I hadn't bothered to open my mouth, do you have any idea I would have known that guy was standing there? I guarantee you not. And another video that I've got, you could check out one of my stories about a very famous author, a very famous movie, a very famous book. If you don't see it up there, you can check down below as well. We have gotten so caught up in our nutshell of me against the world that it's making people coarse. I think that's really, what retail is going to be able to do with retail training is to break people apart and realize I got to make that guy's day before he's going to make mine. I don't care what he believes or what she believes or what she's wearing. I've got to find it in me to find something to build a rapport with. And the more you can do that, retail is the great incubator because you see so many people all through the day, right? So especially when you're in the holiday season, your crew should be able to practice this and do it, but a lot will pull back and say, oh, I didn't have time to greet the customer. Of course you do. Why can't you say good morning? Good afternoon, good evening. Well, what am I, wait, Bob, wait. What am I supposed to do? Like, if Jane said good morning and they come by me later on, what am I supposed to say? Good morning, why? Well, doesn't that sound phony? They've already heard it. I was like, does good morning sound phony? And then I said, maybe it's the way you're looking at it. It's just a way of just greeting them to your section. So when they get back there, they know that you're there, you work there, you're not just training stuff. But all that means you're gonna have to do something to get whatever training you're doing to stick. And I believe in doing role play. That means, sometimes I'll go through and I will write out scenarios. You're a shopper, you're 35, you like the Monkees. Okay, most of you don't know who that was, but that was a band from the 60s. You drive a brand new Rolls Royce. So I give that to one employee and I'll say, okay, that's your script. That's who you are. You're not gonna walk in and go, hi, I drive a Rolls Royce this. They've got to find this information out. Fair enough? Okay. And I might say, oh, and by the way, and I'll probably give them something like, and you're holding a Tiffany bag. Now I turn to the other associate. Are you ready for this? Okay. All you see is what this looked like, and they're holding a Tiffany bag. Go. And what's really interesting is when they understand, oh, that's just a game. So I might ask them, oh, was that a gift that you got for yourself or for someone else? I got it for myself. Ding. Oh, well, what else did you get there? It's like, is that what we teach? No, what are you supposed to do? I've got to jump in with something personal from my life. Great, have you ever been in Tiffany's? No, I've never been in Tiffany's. Okay, great. You ever bought any gift for yourself? Yeah, what's the last thing you remember that you really loved that you bought for yourself? A Yamaha motorcycle. Great, all right, so let's roll that back. Go back from the Tiffany's. Okay, so he says, would you buy that as a gift for yourself? Was that for yourself or a gift? I bought it for myself. Oh, nice. It's always nice to treat yourself. I remember the time that I didn't buy it from Tiffany's, but I got a brand new Yamaha motorcycle. I still have it to this day. It's my favorite vehicle, except when it rains up here in Seattle. Asked and answered, feels logical. If we don't do that, so we just get to the Tiffany bag. So did you buy something for yourself or someone else? For myself. So what can I help you with? Like, wow, whoa. Like you just slammed the window on that guy. He was opening his heart and you're just like, yeah, that's not important. And now that I've opened your eyes to it, you will see it everywhere. Because people aren't listening, we want to react, get it out of the way. So role play takes a lot. You know, a third person like me or someone else that helps them is great. I also believe in using AI right now. You can talk to them. I baked AI into our SalesRX online retail sales training program so that after you take a short lesson, 3 to 5 minutes, you'll be able to go through and go right into a role play, and you're talking to a computer back and forth, and then you go to a quiz. And you know what's interesting is 83% of our users report a double-digit increase in 6 months, because practice does make perfect. And then as you get used to tracking and doing accounting, like every day we're going to hold people accountable, then you start looking at the numbers, and the numbers should go up. If they aren't going up, something is off. Because a lot of times I hear people like, oh, my crew does it all the time. Great, send in the mystery shoppers. Well, I don't really want to know that much. Okay. I never want to be surprised by the experience a customer has in my store. You know, Five Guys, you know, the peanuts on the floor and the hamburgers, really greasy hamburgers, they send out 2 mystery shops every week on their franchisees. They want to know this is our brand, this is not our brand. Look at a Chick-fil-A, amazing. Fast food has a really strong tradition of training service and procedures. And you see it really easily there. Most people don't see it in retail because it feels different. And my goal is that when you're using, for example, my entire sales training process, no one knows but you. But one of my clients came back to me and she said, I have never had so many people call me and say, that's the most amazing shopping experience I've ever had. She goes, they don't know what SalesRX is doing underneath it. They just know that they feel something. And ultimately, that's what we're trying to do. So when you're thinking of retail sales training, understand that the basics are going to come down to, you know, are they trainable? Are you training a process, or are you just trying to say, sell more? Are you going through and holding them accountable? Are you going through and finding a way to build rapport? And then are you rewarding your crew that do it? And if you do that, then I think, and if you already want to do that, then I've got another video for you ready. It's just right up here at the top. If you don't see it up there, you can see it down below in the text. And follow that, and you're going to be able to go even deeper with me. Retail Doc, out.